Township Board of Trustees meeting. It's August 12th, 2014 at approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burning, may we please have the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Honolaw. Mr. Burning?
Present.
Ms. McFarland?
Present.
Mr. Honolaw?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
Would we please everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first thing that we have this evening is we're pleased to have with us Ms. Annie Wilkerson. She is a representative from Brad Winstrup's office, and she is here for a few words.
Hello, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Basically, I just wanted to come introduce myself. I'm the field rep for Congressman Winstrup for Hamilton County, or our strangely drawn portion of Hamilton County. Just basically wanted you guys to have a face and a contact in case you have any questions or issues that come up. We handle we're basically a liaison to any federal agency. That's what our role is here in the local office. So if you run across anyone who has issues with veterans issues, I know that's really big right now, Social Security, disability, passports and visas, send them our way. We can do what we can to get them help. And then if you have any legislative issues, you can run that by me, and then I'll send it to our DC staff who handles all the legislative work and see if we can get your response. Another thing we also do, if you know of any bright young students, even as low as the junior high age, we do academy nominations. So to the service academies, West Point, Naval Academy, and Air Force, and the Merchant Marines. I kind of head that program with our office, so feel free to send any students my way that might be interested that you might come across. And then also in our DC office, we do fun things like order flags that can be flown over the Capitol. If you're ever visiting, we can schedule tours of the White House, Capitol building, and things like that. So that's just a brief overview of what we do. If you guys have any questions or anything, and I'll stick around for the meeting and chat with you guys afterwards so you know how to get in touch with me.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, not this time. Thank you very much. Okay, next, going on with our agenda, Mr. Burning, do we have a fiscal officer's report?
Do we want to do the minutes first?
Yes, we do. Sorry, looked right
That's
past
okay.
them. Do we have a motion to approve minutes for an April 8th, 2014 regular meeting and an April 23rd, 2014 regular work session?
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we have the fiscal officer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Honolaw. For the month ending 7/31/2014, the township's expenditures were $1,314,009. Receipts were approximately $255,350, with an ending cash balance of just under $15 million. This includes obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. I request a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenue and reports for the period ending July 31st, 2014. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Just so everyone knows, financial records are available at the offices during regular business hours if there's any request for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. Next, moving on to departmental action and discussion items. Mr. Hennenkamp, do you have a report for us?
I do, Mr. Honolaw, a brief report tonight. No action items, just a few discussion items. One, to just remind the board that later in the meeting you'll be taking action on Resolution 62, 2014. That's our tax budget. We did have the public hearing portion of the tax budget at our meeting at our special meeting actually on July the 23rd. So that resolution will be kind of the final step in that process. And then also I'll kind of turn things over to Ms. Abrams and Chief Heinpolt on this issue. But on July the 28th, there was a hearing in front of a hearing officer dealing with the liquor permit renewal for Chasers, the club that we've had a lot of discussion about over the years. And Laura, Dave, I'll let you guys kind of bring the board up to date on where we are with that hearing.
The hearing unfortunately got continued in progress. It started at 1. We had several witnesses testify. We did have one of our officers testify. In addition, several of the business owners in the area came down and gave of their time to give information, which was very helpful. We have a 5-inch binder worth of offense reports on this establishment. I didn't even know they made 5-inch binders, frankly. And due to evidentiary issues, we spent a lot of time reading and authenticating every single offense report. So that took some time. So we still have evidence to present. We don't yet even have a scheduled date for the continuation. So I'm just going to check and make sure that we didn't have it here, but if we don't, I'll have to call them and see what the delay is. The hearing officer indicated that he would try to schedule as quickly as possible, but we haven't heard anything yet. But I think the testimony has gone well to show that there are significant issues at this establishment. There's a lot more testimony to provide, and obviously they have their opportunity to present. I don't know what's going to be presented, but I think the police department did a really good job of pulling everything together and making sure we had all of the issues documented so we can present an accurate picture of what's happening at the office.
Very good. Thanks for all your hard work.
Hopefully we'll come out with this.
Thank you, Chief.
It's a difficult case to win. We've said that before. These are anything to do with the liquor commission and the permitting is difficult. But what we said from admin and the police department and the board and myself is just present them everything. We just want to make sure that we give them absolutely all of the information we have. We don't forget anything on our part. We present it as well as we can, and then it's out of our hands. And I would say that we have done that, and the police department did a really good job, as I said, putting all the paperwork together. And it is not this much. It's a lot of paper. And it documents everything that happened. And that's all we can do is present, this is why we're concerned. We have, what did we say, how many bars do we have?
Is it 184 incidents?
Yeah, and they account for, right, and this establishment's only open 2, and it accounts for almost 60% of those. I have to pull my exhibit up, but we actually calculated that out, and it was even actually surprising to us how much of a drain they are to the township's resources. And they're only open 2 days at most a week. And the other stat, the closest nearest to that is like 12%. So it's a huge difference in the amount of resources that are being expended to handle the issues at that club. So
I think it was what, 184 separate?
I think so.
184, 194 separate offenses.
Yeah,
Well, you read them all.
Well,
You
at
should know
least.
what that number is.
it took almost 2 hours.
that's only, we only went back to the last.
That's the last
Since the last
year.
renewal, 184 to 190.
In the last year.
Incidents at one club.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, it took,
Almost twice as many nights as they're open.
it's significant. And yeah, although I didn't love having to read all those, and certainly the officer who had to authenticate each piece of paper wasn't excited about doing that either, and the audience was quite bored. I'm not sure. There's nothing more boring than having someone read a piece of paper going, on this date, is this, did you verify that this was this offense, and it happened there? It was horribly boring, but it helped to really show that there's these many problems there. So
I think you had to outline that just so that they could see us. There was a trail that you could basically see that indicated that it's really a hot spot, and it's taken up most of our resources when it comes to our
and the
police
resources
department.
of the surrounding departments.
That's true.
There are times where we go 3 jurisdictions deep just to handle the issues at that club. So that 3 of our fellow jurisdictions don't have officers in their own jurisdiction because they're helping us. So it's significantly problematic. And I think that, as I said, that's all we can do is show them what's happening, give them as much evidence as there is to present, and once we fairly do that, the decision's out of our hands. But I think we've done that so far, and whenever the second hearing date is, we will certainly do that for the remainder.
Well, it's good because we're not stopping, we're moving forward, and that's what we need to continue to do.
I agree.
That's good.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Chief. The next item that I have is just to update the board on our personnel activity in the last month. Did accept the resignation of Nick Nimstrom as a police officer. His effective date of resignation was July the 10th, 2014. We promoted Deshaun Brooks from a part-time to a full-time police officer. The effective date of his promotion was July the 12th, 2014, and we did hire a full-time dispatcher in Alicia Hubble, and her effective date was July the 8th, 2014. Accepted the resignation of Andy Bittner in our service department. Andy was a part-time laborer, effective date July 25th, 2014, and then the summer position term ended for Lauren Bass, who was a laborer for us, and her temporary summer position ended on July the 31st of this year. I just asked Kim maybe to bring us up to date on community events and programs.
Thank you. I just wanted to invite the board and residents to attend the second annual Local Art Show. This is where we invite local artists in the community and little surrounding neighborhoods to come out for a 2-day exhibit. We have an opening reception on the 5th that starts at 7:00 p.m., where we're going to have cocktails, a live band. We'll have the art exhibit, an art auction, and we'll also have a live gallery display where the people in attendance can actually take part in it. The second day is going to be a bunch of sampler programs that people can participate in for free or for really low cost, and that event is made possible through Arts Wave. This is the Arts Council's largest fundraiser at this particular point.
Kim, what are the times on those 2 days that the programs start?
September 5th is from 7 to 10 p.m., and September the 6th is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So 7 a.m., that's the 5th.
Right, it's a Friday and Saturday event.
All right, very good. Anything else, Mr. Hennekamp?
No, that's really all I have. I know the board has copies of the departmental and activity reports, so unless the board has any questions, that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Next on the agenda, we have board resolutions. The first resolution we have is Resolution Number 61, 2014, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
The next resolution that we have is Resolution Number 62, 2014. This is adopting the 2015 tax budget. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
The next resolution we have is Resolution Number 63, 2014. This is a resolution for supplemental appropriations within the General Fund, Police District Fund, Fire District Fund, and Ambulance and Emergency Medical Services Fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Mr. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have Resolution Number 64, 2014, assenting to the acceptance of Bellamy Court in the Bellamy Court subdivision. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Mr. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And I guess I would say that was one that was long in coming, wasn't it, John? The Bellamy Court was the street down off of Winton Road where the original developer never completed it to satisfaction, but we were able to work with the county and get that street finally completed so that the residents have a decent street, and we can also plow snow there and take care of it like we would any other street in the township.
Correct. And really the only notable thing about this particular acceptance is the fact that because it was done in the way that it was done with the county's work, there won't be a one-year maintenance bond like there would typically be had we accepted this from the developer or the builder.
Correct. Exactly.
So John, we basically are accepting it as though the 1 year's passed.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Right. I just want to say, John, thanks for all your work and working with the county to get this. I mean, this was a bad situation, and it's been something that's gone on for a long time when the developer basically, went bankrupt, and we, appreciate all the work you've done to get that taken care of.
You're welcome.
I'm sure the residents do too.
Yes.
Make it a lot easier to plow, which of course we're not going to have to do this winter because we're not going to have.
Any snow.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You hope.
Exactly. Next, we have resolution number 65, 2014, authorizing sale by internet auction of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit for use property in the Springfield Township Police Department. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 66, 2014, authorizing private sale of unneeded and unfit for use property in the police department.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution 67, 2014, authorizing private sale of unneeded and unfit for use property in the Drug Abuse Reduction Task Force Department.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Thank you. Next, moving on with our agenda this evening, we have old business. Is there any old business before the board? Does anyone have anything? I do not.
I have one. We lost a brave warrior, a great activist in Springfield Township. His name was Mr. Joe Johns. He lived in Hollydale, and he was always a frequent flyer, attending our meetings. As well as he served on a lot of our volunteer committees, and he really wanted not only his community to continue to be a great community, but the township as well. So he was really an excellent woodworker as well, and woodmaker. So the community is certainly mourning his loss, and he's of course gone to a better place. So I just want everybody to know that he's in a better place at this point.
Joe was a great leader in
Yes.
Hollydale for that entire community.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people thought of him as the mayor of Hollydale.
That's what I
but,
called it.
yeah.
Yeah, he created the Civic Association and continued until he became ill, and then someone else has taken over, but he's just an icon in that community.
Okay. Is there any new business before the board?
I have one thing. To let the residents know, Duke Energy is going to be performing inspections on gas equipment and piping located in the township between August 7th to September the 7th. And during that time, it only takes about 10 minutes to do the inspection. Most of the time, it's usually just from your outside wall to the gas meter. And they'll have a name tag that says Southern Cross on it. So if you see somebody inspecting your gas, just understand they should have a Southern Cross badge on their lapel. And if you have any questions, just call the township and they'll check up on it for you.
All right. Thank you, Mark. And I also have one other thing I wanted to bring up under new business. And every month we receive thank you cards from residents who are either thanking us for, a lot of times thanking us for Life Squad runs, for the kind of medical care that they receive from our fire department. One stood out, though, this past month, an email that I received, and this was something that came from the hospital, and I thought that I would kind of ask Chief Leininger to say a little bit about this particular incident, and it's one of the situations where it shows that the investment that we've made in the township in advanced life support equipment was something that saved one of our citizens' lives. So, Chief, if you could tell us a little bit.
Sure. I'd welcome the opportunity, Joe. Thank you. On July the 30th, we received a 911 call for a resident having chest pain. When we arrived, we did a quick assessment, and using the equipment that you talked about, our advanced cardiac life support in the Life Pack 15 that you approved for purchase last year, we were able to detect that early that he had a heart blockage that was causing the heart to work efficiently. With that technology, we also sent an EKG and all the diagnostic information directly to the ER physician and to the cardiac cath lab physician as well. They determined that there was a significant blockage and he needed to be taken care of in a cath lab expeditiously. So at that point, he was loaded into the squad. We responded quickly to the hospital, and because of his critical nature, we bypassed the ER and took him directly to the cath lab, where he received a procedure called an angioplasty, where they actually went in and was able to use a balloon, you've also heard of that term, and were able to remove the blockage, allow the blood to transfuse the heart, and as a result, he walked out of the hospital the next day. Without that type of advanced cardiac life support and intervention, then chances are he would not have survived. So it just goes to show that, that the investment in our technology does save lives. It's expensive. There's no doubt about it. It's expensive. But what price do you put on someone's life? And we're fortunate to have the equipment readily available in Springfield Township. And I also encourage anybody that watching this program that if they are having chest pain or they're experiencing indigestion, please call us. There's no obligation to go to the hospital, but allow us to use this technology to do an assessment and let the technology work for us. And if we detect a problem, then we can expedite the care and transport you to the appropriate medical facility. And we were recognized, in this particular case, we were recognized by Pam Urbanbach. She is the EMS coordinator for Good Sam Hospital. They did an outstanding job working with us. It's a good partnership that we have with all the area hospitals. And because of technology, we can improve your chances of survival. So it is good to have a success story like this. But I would like to recognize the 3 individuals on the EMS crew. They were Jason Eckhoff, paramedic, John Busing was the paramedic, and George Seibel, the EMT. And they did an outstanding job.
Thank you, Chief, and pass the thanks along to all of our paramedics and EMS personnel. We truly appreciate the work that they do.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Any other new business before the board?
I have none.
Okay. Next, we're coming to the citizens' participation part of the meeting. This is the portion of the meeting where if there's anyone here that would like to address the board, we would ask that you come up to the podium, state your name and address, and then we'd ask that everyone else remain quiet so that we can hear what the speaker has to say. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Rivers. I was at the meeting before this, me and my wife and a couple of neighbors. And first of all, I want to say you've been doing a pretty decent job on some of the complaints we have. But however, still, it's an ongoing situation. First of all, I took pictures, and I want you guys to kind of
Hey, Joe, what's your address?
I'm at 2068 Blue Hill Drive
Thank you.
in Seven Hills.
That's good.
And we made several calls about the conditions of the road, especially on my street, Blue Hill Drive. A lot of potholes, I mean, you can tell by the pictures. Somebody came out and threw a little blacktop, maybe a teaspoonful in a couple holes, but it's still breaking apart and it's causing damage to cars. And I took some pictures of the damage it done to some of the cars. It's doing damage to the lawns because the big rocks, when the car hits it, they fly over in the grass, and when your lawnmower hits it, it tears the blade all up and everything. And it's just a really ugly sight. And we're still having bad-looking property problems, people not cutting the grass, not picking up trash, nobody's making repairs on their properties, cars speeding up and down the street, loud thumping music, you can't sleep, you can't rest, people blocking the roads, you try to get past, they won't move over to the right side and let you pass without some kind of conflict you might have with them as you tell them to move, Trash, just trash everywhere. We just got a bad problem with trash. I took some pictures of that too. Some of the public cans up there not being emptied, and they get overflowing, and the trash start blowing all over the highway, all on the streets and people property. The merchants up there, their stuff be blowing all down the neighborhood. You see Little Caesar boxes, Raleigh burger bags. I done picked up probably a caseload of hot fried bags and chip bags and all that kind of stuff. It's just a shameful neighborhood. It's so bad out there that I am really embarrassed and ashamed of my neighborhood. And I got people coming to town or relatives. Really gets embarrassed, and I'm ashamed for when they come out there and see actually where I live at, because it's just so nasty, and just paper and junk cars and tore up houses and grass not being cut. I've been living there 33 years, and this is as bad as I've seen it. So that's my complaint, really, and probably a few other neighbors complain about that problem, And I say the number one complaint is really the trash. I don't know what we can do about the trash. I gets out there, and a couple other neighbors, we got there and try to clean it up, but it's just an ongoing situation. But that's mainly what I have, and we had like the merchants up there. Okay, my wife said she talked to somebody, Cindy, and was telling them about the grass not being cut in them apartments up there. They get it goes so long that the flowers, purple flowers start growing up in the grass. The paper be all over the lot. You got gym shoes hanging on the power lines. We complained about that. Won't nobody come and cut them down. It's just a very, very bad looking community. And I took and drove around some of Springfield Township properties, area rather. And I got to say Seven Hills is the worst probably in Springfield Township. And all the areas I went to, I couldn't compare Seven Hills to none of them. That's how bad it is out there. And that's all I have. Thanks. But other than that, some of the problems been answered, But thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate your bringing these concerns to us. I think we've had discussions on this before, Chris. Wasn't Blue Hill the street that is in a different census tract that when we did the community development rehabilitation of the streets up there, it didn't qualify?
Yeah, we actually had some funds available through the Community Development Block Grant Program through Hamilton County, and unfortunately for Blue Hill, the U.S. Census Bureau lumped Blue Hill Drive in with some properties in neighborhoods to the south of it, rather than the actual neighborhood which it's in, which is Seven Hills, and the properties to the north of it. Because Blue Hill is the southernmost street, it was lumped in with other properties in other neighborhoods that basically made it not eligible for block grant funds because it elevated the median income and didn't qualify. So yeah, we're not able to use block grant funds on Blue Hill. While Blue Hill itself probably qualifies, the census tract in which it in doesn't, which by default makes it not eligible. But additionally, I think some of the issues with trash, we're aware of. The problem is, it's all basically in the street, in the sidewalk, on the curbs, and it's sort of an ongoing thing, and unless you're cleaning it up once a day, I'm not sure what the answer is. It's more of a societal thing where kids and stuff just throw trash on the ground.
Right.
But I'm open to suggestions and answers. And from the property standpoint, the high grass, it does take time, to go through the legal process, which you just did tonight, which you declared properties a nuisance by way of resolution. To go through the state-required statute in order to legally be on the property and mow the grass, it can take anywhere from 45 to 60 days.
We have one on Blue Hill that we're doing, 2077.
Right. What we have done, and the board...
2077,
Yeah, 2077 Blue Hills.
looks like 2076 should be next.
The board has put in a procedure where if a property is declared a nuisance, and then that property becomes a nuisance again within 12-month time frame from the original declaration, we can go through an expedited process, and it can take 7 to 10 days to clean it up. But the initial violations do take time. And beyond that, the legal time to be on the property is one thing, but then actually to have the time from a manpower standpoint, and, there's many properties. You've seen today, there's another 30 or 40 properties that we declared a nuisance just in this meeting. And in another 2 weeks, we'll do another 30 or 40. And then 2 weeks after that, and it's just, so it does take time to get to them. We're not ignoring them. We're just going through the legal process that's required and then getting to them as soon as we can with the limited resources that we have in terms of a cleanup crew.
There's an address that Mrs. Rivers called in, and that property that she called about reflects the one that has had problems within a year that we've responded to, and it's the one that you called about. And so a notice was posted on that door, and the township will be going in on August the 19th to correct that problem, because that particular property is, I guess you could say, a frequent problem. And I just want to commend the residents in Seven Hills, because it's really important that all of us in our communities become active and verbally active as well, and begin to let individuals know in your community that you're there and you want your community to remain a very strong and vibrant community, and that you're not going to put up with that. And that's one of the reasons some of the neighborhoods that perhaps Mr. Rivers has driven through, the neighbors, the residents are standing up just as you all are doing and saying that, we are not moving from our community, you're not going to put us out, and so we're going to get very active in the community and make a change. And I've seen a couple of our communities becoming revitalized again, just because of the concerns of residents such as you all, to take back your community and make it the community that you want it to be.
And I think a lot of neighborhoods that are along a major corridor, such as Hamilton Avenue or Vine Street, and even the properties on Winton, do see a fair amount of trash that's thrown out of vehicles that blows around from the retail corridor that's right adjacent to the residential area. So, on Cross County, for example, there's a lot of trash in the median just by way of vehicles that travel it every day and throw stuff out of the car window. So they're in a difficult spot, and I understand, especially on Blue Hill, that they're so close to Hamilton Avenue, the retail sites that people frequent along Hamilton Avenue, that creates a lot of that trash. So I do understand the concern, and it's a problem with not an easy answer, I guess is my point.
When you drive into Seven Hills, it's not so much on Hamilton Avenue, it's in the neighborhoods. It's the people that live in that community who, or maybe they don't as well, but driving through and they just throw things out the window. They just don't pick up after themselves.
Hello, everyone. I am May Rivers. I'm the wife of Joe Rivers. And you guys was talking about 2077, and that is the property that I have called on several times. But my husband, Joe Rivers, has been cutting 2077. And one might say, well, why does he cut it? But if he didn't cut it, we probably wouldn't be able to see across the street. The grass becomes so high. So we can all agree that responsible responsible. We all has to be responsible for our properties. And when you know that the property is owned by a bank, from time and time again, we have seen people come there to do repairs on the house. So the bank has to be aware that this is their property, but they're not doing anything to make sure that the property is being kept up. And again, if nobody is complaining or if they're not being cited for it, then why should they? There should be something done. So if someone can look into it, we will all in Seven Hill appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Mrs. Rivers, thank you. I do have one question. 2077, according to our resolution tonight, is owned by the King Group, and that one is on to be cleaned up. These pictures say 2076.
It's 2076 you just got it.
Okay. 2076.
So there's two properties then.
Across the street from each other?
Yeah.
No, she just got the wrong address.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have 2077 on our to-do list to clean up.
Is that on Blue Hill?
Yes, sir.
Yes. It would be across the street from it.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
We'll
Thank
find
you
it
very
when we get
much.
out there.
Yes, and I do want you to know that we will keep up our efforts to try and clean up our neighborhoods. You know, one of the challenges for us as a Board of Trustees is to figure out a way that we can get the money we need to try to resurface Blue Hill Drive. You know, all the other streets up there we were able to work on with the community development dollars, but unfortunately the law prevented us from Blue Hill. To be quite honest, our funds are very limited in the township. We've never had a lot of money for street surfacing, and as the cost of street repairs have gone up and our levy dollars have stayed the same, it's been tougher. And then we've had cuts in state funding and different things which have made it difficult for us. But we're going to keep working with the SKIP program and trying to get grants to leverage the tax dollars we have, and we'll be looking. We rate the streets every year, and I'm sure I can see from these pictures this street can't rate well. So, no. So, thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Carolyn Matthews. I live on Misty Hill, right across from where the school used to be.
Yes.
And I think the group of people that we have back here, myself and one of my neighbors, we passed out flyers to some of our neighbors that we know pretty well about the violence that's going on back there. I feel that if we try to do something about it now before it gets any worse, what can we do? It's, in the last month, there's probably been maybe at least a half a dozen shootings back there. One person died, and it's right at the beginning of the neighborhood where it, really affects the looks and stuff of, nothing to say of what the other gentleman had talked about. That's been ongoing for quite a few years, but the violence back there is getting terrible. My children are grown and gone. One of our sons still lives with us, but I've got 8 grandchildren at the house every weekend. And I'm just really getting concerned. I don't live in downtown Cincinnati, and I don't want to live down there. And that's the way it feels.
All right, well, thank you. I don't know, Chief, is there
I know
anything?
we make-
I know
we make a
Seven
lot of
Hills,
rounds back.
Seven Hills takes up a large proportion of our police officers' time.
Spend
But-
a considerable amount of time up there. We've also, in the past, have worked with Sheriff's Office and Corrin Township and put together task force where we went in and enforced, heavily. We pretty much run zero tolerance in Seven Hills.
You say zero tolerance?
We have zero tolerance on drugs, alcohol, You know, we've got a drug task force that spends a lot of time in Seven Hills. You know, we're aware of the violence, we're aware of the shootings that were happening back where the school ground used to be. You know, the problem is with that is it's just a wide open field, and there's really no way to easily patrol, or, you know, there's only technically 2 entrances.
Any I've seen or heard about has always been right on the main streets at people's homes. I didn't even know there was any problems back in the school. And like I said, I live right across the street, but, I mean, can we do anything? Can the police have more presence back there, like maybe on bikes, where they're, you know, where they see you more instead of just driving up and down the streets?
We've tried all kind of different issues up there in Seven Hills, and, you know, it's not that they haven't been successful. We've lowered the crime rate with a lot of our efforts. It's just that there's a lot of crime that goes on in that area.
I know there's probably always been a fair share of crime back there, but I don't know that it's been guns and people shooting at each other and people actually dying from it.
One thing, I would just like,
Every shooting that's been up there in the last year has been drug related.
What can we do as neighbors? I mean, I'm hoping eventually to get more of us together.
What we need is neighbors that call in and give us information and give us tips on the guys that are dealing drugs before there ends up a shooting. But every shooting we've had and every homicide we had in Seven Hills has been directly related to drug sales. It's just drug dealers fighting over drug territory.
can I say something? What neighbors can do, and this has been successful when we've had other communities that appeared that they were maybe sliding, you know, from being a vibrant community to perhaps one not so vibrant, is asking all the neighbors to call the police, take notes of anything that you see is suspicious, anything that you have concerns about, any particular activities. You may want to look at putting together, and the police department would be glad to work with you on putting together a neighborhood watch program, but making notes of anything suspicious that you see. Contact our police department anytime. Our police services are 24/7, and that's what they're here for. You know, we're here all day, all night, all weekends and everything. And don't hesitate to report those unusual incidents, because you will begin to eventually see a pattern, and the police will as well. So that, I think, is really a critical and a very important move that you can do when you ask what we can do, is just keep a record and track and call the police immediately when you notice something. And then at some point, you'll begin to see a pattern, and perhaps, I'm not saying it's the answer, you know, but it's an opportunity.
Who would I talk to about trying to maybe get a neighborhood watch started?
We'll meet with you after the meeting and talk with our police department.
We've probably had 3 or 4 neighborhood watches up there since I've been here.
But I don't think there's
And it worked, and then everybody
Guys
drops out.
goes by the wayside with all the busyness that.
Exactly. And, you know, but that's what it's going to take. I mean, the last homicide up there was 5:30 in the evening.
That's when
We had, you know how many witnesses we got?
0. Yeah.
And there's probably 25 people on the street. So, you know, it's going to take people to get involved that, you know, are willing to give information, that are willing to testify in court.
Well, I'm having trouble myself just finding enough people to want to give a flyer to see if we can, you know, get something going. Since my kids are grown and gone, I don't get out in the neighborhood like I used to. And, you know, the kids don't come and tell me all the stories that they used to tell me, but, you know, it's just got so much worse. Something has to be done.
If you get enough people together that are willing to do Crime Watch, you know, we'll be happy to put together a program, and we're happy to meet with you and explain, you know, what we need to do. And, you know, it works. It just takes people that are, you know, we can't be there 24 hours a day.
Right, I know. I understand that.
We've got 40,000 residents, and you know, in the realm of Springfield Township, Seven Hills is a pretty small little area.
I know it's
And
very large.
You know, it's probably taken 25, 30% of our resources that we put into Seven Hills every day just because of all the issues. It's not that we're not aware of, and it's not that we're not doing things there. We do, and we've got undercover cars in there. We've got all kind of stuff we're doing.
Yeah,
Constantly doing search warrants, you know, taking off drug dealers. But we just need, you know, we need residents that are willing to speak up.
okay, thanks.
But we're certainly willing to help you.
Ma'am, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? David?
David Bailey, pastor, St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, 9191 Daly Road, and way out of uniform today. But as I was listening to this conversation and knowing that Ms. Wilkerson is here, I wanted to say something I said before. And so try to stay awake during this part, but for those who haven't been part of these trustee meetings, it is fascinating to me that y'all can come here and have these discussions, and it's not like, here's a problem. Oh, okay. Next person? Here's a problem. Oh, okay. Next person? Y'all, to use the Southern term, and y'all talk with each other. And that's something that can only happen in local government, where you can get up and talk and people will respond back to you, and there can be some lively disagreements from time to time, but it's an opportunity for people to talk back and forth. Now, I get up, Ms. Wilkerson, I get up several times a year at these, and that's why as I started to walk up, Joe could say, David, because he knows who I am, I know who they are, and it's because this is local government at work. And I am always astonished by how the conversations can go back and forth, and you know, it's not, you don't always get the answer you want, but you get answers. You get conversation, you get dialogue. And so, once again, I thank y'all for that. I thank y'all for that, and take note of it.
Thank you, Pastor Bailey. I would want to say one thing, because he has been referring to Ms. Wilkerson here, and there were a number of people that came in after she spoke at the beginning of our meeting. She is a representative from Brad Wenstrup's office, Representative Brad Wenstrup's office, and she's here just taking in what's going on in Springfield Township, and also told us a little bit about some of the services that Representative Wenstrup's office can provide for us. And she'll be around after the meeting if anybody has any questions for her. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am, I saw you.
Hi, my name is Alicia Coles, and I live at 10966 Maple Hill Drive. And I'm saying hello to everyone, and I'm glad to be here today. There are concerns in the area that we have a lot of pit bulls running around loose. And I don't know what the bylaws are, because a lot of people that live in this area now, I've been there over 25 years, I don't understand it, but, you know, these dogs are running loose. And my daughter almost got bit a couple days ago. She was getting in the car at night, and if it hadn't been for the neighbor across the street, this dog would have came upon her and my grandson. He was just running loose. And this isn't the first time I've seen the dogs out there. And I don't really know how to, I know I can call the pet people about it, but, that is a problem that these dogs are. I know you guys have seen these
PCA.
loose dogs a lot.
PCA that takes care of it.
And when I come into Seven Hills a lot of times in the evening, 'cause I used to work and get off about 9, there's a lot of traffic in those projects. And you cannot, get by. Sometimes they block traffic so you can't get by. The gas station is out of control up there. They got people selling dogs out, right there in the parking lot. A lot of cars are staying up there. And I don't know, this last owner seems like he's just allowing a lot of things going on that, I don't agree with, but I'm not the owner there. And another question I have is that, what about our property values? We're still paying a certain amount, pretty good taxes for this area, and our property is going down. Has really, decreased, so I'm kind of concerned what I need to do so my taxes will be where my house rate is at. That's all I have to say.
I guess, again, I think some of the issues that you're raising are societal and probably go beyond the scope of what we can do. We can pave roads, we can provide paramedic service, police, safety services. We probably can't stop people from littering. We probably, if they're going to let their dogs run, you need to call the SPCA on them. Report it to the police. We're certainly trying to do things to prevent the kind of tragedies that we saw with a young girl that was mauled by a pit bull in Cincinnati some time ago. I know, Laura, at one time we had a ban on pit bulls, and that was a registration procedure. Wasn't a ban, but there was restrictions. And I think you had to have them insured and different things.
Pretty good program, it was a little difficult and time-consuming for the township. I thought it was a good program because we had a sort of compromise between people who are responsible pit bull owners and people who aren't. But the House State Supreme Court basically struck down the breed-specific bans, so we were no longer committed to have that program.
So the courts got rid of our, which I thought the program made a lot of sense. You had to keep it in a cage or in a chain behind a fence and register.
If you wanted, it always had to be leashed, and if you wanted to have one in the township, it had to go through the Canine Good Citizen Program, which is the program that has the temperament dog, national program. So we had several people who came to the hearings, and we had a panel, and they were able to establish that their dogs were good dogs. They bought their dogs in the hearing. That way we were trying to make sure that the pit bulls that were in the township were the type of dogs that we want in the township. So it was a good program, but it can't, they struck down the breed-specific bans in Ohio statewide. They didn't look at our particular program. We had no litigation on our particular program. Figured that ours didn't get struck down specifically. It just was part of the umbrella when they got rid of the breed-specific ban. So there's not really anything we can do about a particular breed of dog. However, if people see it, a loose dog running around, certainly contact the SPCA. That's not permitted. They'll go and get the dog. I understand that they're also understaffed, overworked, but it was their job to locate and retrieve those animals. So those are the people who need to contact. Certainly, if there's a menacing dog, the police department can look into that.
We capture dogs. I mean, if they're running loose and we've got snares and that, we capture them. We got a kennel and we hold them for the SPCA till they can get there. We can also cite the owner for letting a dog run loose under state law.
I mean, they're not just standing, they're moving, but
Right.
they're out
Right.
there.
If they're unleashed and they're off the owner's property, then basically the dog's running at large. And we will, if we can catch them, we catch them and we bring them in and we cite the owners and the SPCA will come get them and then they'll cite the owners because most of the time they're not registered and, the other violations that may occur. But they're very short-staffed, the SPCA, and it can take hours for them to respond. So in a situation where there's one that looks menacing or vicious or trying to bite somebody, just call us. And, we'll handle it until the SPCA can get there.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board this evening? Yes, sir.
I'm from Seven Hills.
Yes, sir.
If
you state your name and...
It's Fred Conrad, 2081 Misty Hill Drive. There's a lot of us here, and I just want to make sure this doesn't fall through the cracks, I guess, this whole neighborhood watch thing and what we can do. I remember someone said that the best way to get information is to call, would it be better to call your police department on Compton Road rather than use 911 for these, like if you see something weird, just because I'm just trying to...
It depends on what the issue is. If it's somebody with a gun or some kind of emergency, just use 911.
Yeah, these are all non-emergency.
Non-emergency, 729-1300. We've got dispatchers on at least till midnight, 7 days a week.
Okay.
And, when you call the comm center, their dispatchers are dispatching for the entire county, so they're not really familiar with all the neighborhoods and areas where our dispatchers are familiar with each neighborhood and what goes on in them. So if you can call on non-emergencies, we're always, we'd rather come out and find out it's nothing than to come out the next day and then have people like, I knew I should have called, I seen that going on, and, which happens quite a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. And then the other thing is if we have pictures of something, like say you see the stray dog or something running around and you get a picture of it, is there somewhere we can email the picture or how would that work? Or if you see drug activity and, captured on one of those cameras?
Yeah, there's on our webpage, there's a place for reporting stuff. You can send a picture on it.
Is that on the Springfield Township Police, the police link or the website is?
Yeah. If you go into the police section on our website, there's report a crime chip. You can put as much information as you can. You can put pictures, and it goes straight to the police department.
Okay. And that's kind of, that doesn't get out to who's doing it, so I don't want to.
We don't release anybody's name, but anybody call.
Yeah,
You can call and not give your name. I mean, if it's going on now, I'd rather you call and talk with dispatchers so we can send officers out now.
Yeah.
If it goes to the webpage, I may not get it till the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, it's not happening then. So we'd much prefer to be notified when it's happening so we can send officers out and resolve the issue.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If there's something, where you could give it immediate attention, that'd be much better.
You can always send the pictures to the website and call, the police department and talk to them for immediate action. But still, if you took some pictures that you thought they might like to see, you can go ahead to the website and go ahead and send them, and he may get them the next morning, but at least he has a record and knows who he's dealing with.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking because the dog thing, that's not really an emergency where somebody has to come out right away or.
If there's a pit bull running around the neighborhood, that can be an emergency.
Yeah, some are.
Yeah, it could have been, she could have got hurt.
Yeah.
Because if somebody wasn't out there, she would have got out of the car and she would have got bit.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it was a man that was across the street and another, he was leaving the house and he saw the dog and he told her to stop, don't get out of the car.
Okay. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate all these comments. We're aware of a lot of these problems. They've been kind of chronic problems in Seven Hills, and we try to, with the resources and the manpower we have, to address them as best as we can. But we'll certainly, look for ways to make the place better.
Okay, yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Would you please, so everybody else can hear you?
I'm from Pleasant Run Farms, and some of the residents there are concerned about building permits for fences that conflict with the covenant codes. And what should those residents do? Do you have suggestions?
Well, I see Mr. Gilbert's grabbing his microphone. There's probably, so I understand the issue, there are certain covenants that are contained in your deeds in the subdivision that prescribe a certain or prohibit a certain kind of fence.
Yes.
And that may be different than our zoning resolution. And so maybe Mr. Gilbert, let's.
Yeah, and a lot of, in many situations, particular neighborhoods such as Pleasant Run Farms may have deed restrictions or subdivision rules through their homeowners association or attached to their deed that are more restrictive than our township-wide zoning code may be. And in those situations, these more specific regulations cannot be enforced by Springfield Township because they are not our rules or regulations. They are rules or regulations that were adopted by the developer or the homeowners association of that particular neighborhood. Therefore, we don't have the legal ability to enforce another entity's or another association's rules or regulations. If
what it turns into is a civil matter.
Absolutely. It's a civil matter. So what will happen in many situations is you may have a covenant that says you cannot have a privacy fence, for example. Well, the township allows privacy fences in certain situations. If someone were to come to us and apply for a permit to put up a privacy fence, and they were in correspondence with the township code, we would issue that permit. That fence may very well be in violation, though, of their subdivision rules, but we can't enforce that. So it has to be a civil suit brought against that property owner by another property owner in that subdivision and or the homeowners association of that subdivision.
Okay, so the civic association could bring a case against it.
Yes.
Are those particular residents, okay,
Yes.
as a civil matter?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? It appears that there is not. Mr. Hennekamp, do we need any executive session or anything?
No, sir.
Okay. With that, then, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
I just want to thank you all for coming out and letting us know about these specific problems. So, you know, we can do what we can, but if you don't come out here and talk to us about them, you know, we don't specifically know what's going on every day in every neighborhood. So I do appreciate y'all coming out.